Okay, have we got video and audio? Yes, perfect. Well, in that case, welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Indiana, Pennsylvania. It is so good to be together this morning. At this time, we ask that you just check, make sure that your microphone is silenced and stays off until coffee hour. And I invite you to take a breath, to rise in body and spirit as you would prefer, and to lift your voice for our prelude hymn today, which will be number 21, For the Beauty of the Earth. We are so glad to have Matt Baumer playing for us today, and the words will be posted on the screen as you sing. For the beauty of the earth, for the splendor of the skies, for the love which from earth over and around us lies, so several to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of you and I, for the heart and mind's delight, for the mystic harmony, linking sense to sound and sight, so several to thee raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the wonder of each hour of the day and of the night, for the bud and tree and flower, sun and moon and stars of light, so several to thee raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of human care, sister, brother, parent, child, for the kinship we all share, for all gentle thoughts and mild, so several to thee raise this our hymn of grateful praise. Oh, yes. I think it's coming to you.
Welcome. I'm Nonna Randall, and I'm glad to be here with you. On behalf of the entire congregation, thank you for being here, whether on Zoom or via YouTube. If you are joining us for the first time, welcome. Please send an email to office@firstuu-indianapa.org to join our newsletter mailing list. I invite you, if you have the bandwidth, to turn your camera on here in our Zoom room. For many of us, seeing one another's faces is an important part of how we feel connected on Sundays. On Zoom, we'll also see the speech bubble in the middle of your toolbar, just below the video screen. It's labeled chat, and you can use that feature for our greetings and for joys and concerns during the service. The First Unitarian Universalist Church of Indiana, Pennsylvania is a member congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association. We are self-governing congregations united in a web of mutuality that creates our denomination. We have no creed or doctrine teaching that all individuals have the right and the responsibility to discern and follow their own spiritual paths. We come together to support and assist each other on our journeys and to build our beloved community together. I invite you to stay after the service to greet one another and rejoice in our mutual presence. We will open up the microphones on Zoom for coffee hour, and folks here in, oh, never mind. Don't forget to put our congregational meeting on your calendar. It will be February 13th, next Sunday, and we will revisit the question of using endowment funds to cover the cost of the air purification system. We look forward to further discussion of this question of how we make our building ready for worship and religious exploration classes once more. And now I invite you to take a gentle breath and settle yourself into a spirit of worship.
These words come from Catholic priest and teacher Henry Nouwen, who wrote, "Every time we make the decision to love someone, we open ourselves to great suffering, because those we most love cause us not only great joy, but also great pain. The greatest pain comes from leaving. When the child leaves home, when the husband or wife leaves for a long period of time or for good, when the beloved friend departs to another country or dies. The pain of the leaving can tear us apart. Still, if we want to avoid the suffering of leaving, we will never experience the joy of loving. And love is stronger than fear. Life is stronger than death. Hope stronger than despair. We have to trust that the risk of loving is always worth taking.
On Zoom, you may type "the flame is lit" and say where you are joining us from in the chat bar. At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us.
Oops. Okay. Oh, it's going out here. So.
They just do. Can I go? Sana screams, I want to go too. I can't take her. She's not invited. Why not, says Ami. They don't do that here. Ami says, well, that's not fair. You call up your friend and ask if you can bring Sana, or else you can't go. But Ami, they'll laugh at me. They'll never invite me to another party again. Sana screams, I want to go too. I say, look, Sana, one day you'll get invited to your friends' own parties. Wouldn't you like that better? No, I want to go now. I beg and plead, but Ami won't listen. I have no choice. I have to call. Sally says, all right, but it doesn't sound all right. I know she thinks I'm weird. At the party, I'm the only one who brought her little sister. Sana has to win all the games, and when she falls down during musical chairs, she cries like a baby. Before we leave the party, Sally's mom gives us little bags. Inside there are chocolates and candies and a whistle, a ruby ring, and a big red lollipop. Sana eats her big red lollipop on the way home in the car. I saved mine for later. Sana doesn't know how to make things last. By bedtime, all her candies are gone, her whistle is broken, and the ruby in her ring is missing. I put my big red lollipop on the top shelf of the fridge to have in the morning. All night, I dreamt about how good it will be to taste it. In the morning, I get up early to have it. Sana's already up. When she sees me, she runs away. I open the fridge door. All that's left of my lollipop is a triangle stuck on a stick. Sana! I hear a sound in the front hall closet. I should have known. That's where she always hides. I shove aside coats and boots. I'm gonna get you. Quick as a rat, she shoots through my legs and runs around and around in the living room, in the dining room, the kitchen, yelling, Ami, Ami, help, help, help. Ami comes out, rubbing her eyes. Sana runs behind Ami, where I can't get her. What's going on here? Says Ami. Sana says, Rubina's trying to get me. Ami puts her hands on her hips. Are you trying to get your little sister again? She ate my lollipop. The greedy little thing, she ate it. Ami says, for shame. It's just a lollipop. Can't you share with your little sister? I want to cry, but I don't. Sana runs to the fridge and brings back the triangle stuck on the stick. Look, I didn't eat all of your lollipop. I left the triangle for you. See? See, says Ami. She didn't eat all of it. She's sharing with you. Go ahead, take the triangle. So I have to take it. Go ahead, eat the triangle, but I don't. With all my might, I throw it across the room. It skitters under the sofa. Sana scurries after it and eats it too. The worst thing is that all the girls at school know if they invite me to their birthday parties, I have to bring Sana. I don't get any invitations for a really long time. Then one day, Sana comes home waving an invitation. Ami, I've been invited to a birthday party. There's going to be games and toys and cake and ice cream. Can I go? Can I go? Our little sister, Mary Mana, screams, I want to go too. Sana says, no, I can't take her. She's not invited. Ami says, well, it's only fair. You went to Rubiana's friend's party. Now Rubiana and Mariama can go to your friend's party. I say, leave me out. Ami says, fine, then you have to take Mariana. Now it's Sana's turn to beg and plead. Ami won't listen. Sana's begging so hard she's crying, but still, Ami won't listen. I could just watch her have to take our little sister. I could just let her make a fool of herself at that party. I could just let her not be invited to any more parties. But something makes me tap Ami on the shoulder. What? Don't make Sana take our little sister to the party. No, says Ami. No, I say. Ami thinks for a moment, then says, okay. So Sana gets to go by herself. After the party, I hear a knock on my door. What do you want? I ask Sana. Here, she hands me a big green lollipop. This is for you. Thanks, I say. After that, we're friends.
That's you, not me. Sorry. Overexcited.
Can't hear you, Nana.
No, thanks.
Am I muted? Okay, thank you. I'll say that again. We now invite you to pass the sign of peace with one another online by typing a short blessing for those present in our chat. You might say, peace be with you. Namaste. Shalom. Blessed morning. Salam alaikum. Right blessings. Blessed be. Thank you for sharing your blessings with one another.
In singing our hymn number 325, Love Makes a Bridge. If you happen to have a hymnal at home, you can look at verses 1, 2, and 5. Otherwise, the words will be on your screen. Love makes a bridge from heart to heart and hand to hand. Love finds a way when walls are blind and freedom bend. Love breaks the walls of language gently. Love gives us wings to clip the doors of every cage. Love bridge, but winds make shake yet not destroy. Love carries faith through endless joy. All right, you're up.
The music that I played last week and that I'm playing this week is by an African-American composer named Florence Price, born in 1887, died in 1953. She was born in Arkansas and in her early teens went to Boston to study with some well-known composers and pianists at the New England Conservatory, which had been accepting of other African-American composers such as John Rosamond Johnson, brother of the very famous poet James Weldon Johnson, who wrote Lift Every Voice and Sing. And Florence Price earned her degrees there in composition and piano teaching, and then returned to the South in 1906 at the ripe old age of 19, having finished her degrees, to start a career of teaching in various schools in Arkansas and then at Clark University in Atlanta. After a few years in Atlanta, she returned to Arkansas and was married. And then in 1927, she and her family left Arkansas for Chicago, following the path of the Great Migration, as so many did in that era. And in Chicago, she kept up her piano teaching and also her composing. And in the 1930s, she became one of the most prominent African-American composers. She won a competition in the early 1930s for a symphony, and that symphony was then played by the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, one of the most prominent groups in the US at the time. And that was a signal event, one of the first times that an African-American woman composer had her piece performed in that way. So the piece I'm going to play for you is the first prelude from a set of preludes that she wrote.
Yeah. I'm just going to make a quick note that I will be so glad next week when we have two booms. So we have, okay.
John Yokoyama writes, when we fear what other people think about us, we are frequently more focused on being interesting and less focused on taking an interest. That's why many people talk a great deal when they are anxious, and why many people never feel heard. If both people and conversation are trying to be interesting, there is no one left to genuinely listen.
And John Vanier once said, one of the marvelous things about community is that it enables us to welcome and to help people in a way we couldn't as individuals. When we pool our strength and share the work and responsibility, we can welcome many people, even those in deep distress, and perhaps help them to find self-confidence and inner healing. We're going to take a little time in meditative silence. If you have joys or sorrows that you would like spoken aloud, you may go ahead and write those in the chat. They will be woven into our shared pastoral prayer. Sorry. Aaron, are we muted currently?
Can't hear you.
you. Thank you all so much for your patience. Sometimes it's an adventure getting everything together for our worship as things shift and change. But now, let us join hands, our hearts, and our minds together in a spirit of prayer. Spirit of life, spirit of love, we gather in community today, once again, sharing in blessed community and in the milestones of our living. We ask well wishes, good thoughts, and prayers for Kyle Wilhelm and his family. We offer our prayers to the wider world, the wider community, as tensions grow in the Ukraine. We hope for peace, for understanding. We hope for a world in which people remain free and well. We offer our gladness for those who are still in good health, for Patty Holmes, who had a bit of time in quarantine, but is doing well and has had no symptoms. We offer thanks for kitchen appliances newly arrived as Judith and Juanita's house continues to come together. We offer joy for even in the changing seasons with the cold and snow, today there is sunshine. We offer grace and thanks for Pauline Sims in her warm and safe home with extended family that surrounds and supports. And we send all of our good wishes, our thoughts, our strong energy to Mike and to Tina Purdue and to his sister who has stage 4 lung cancer. We offer all the support we can as they head south next Saturday to offer care during chemotherapy. We are so grateful to our worship associates, our tech team, rolling with the changes of life, and to all of our community, meeting the struggles of our lives with grace, offering their best selves to the challenges. And for the blessings of our lives, may we be grateful. For the beauty of the earth and of the changing seasons, for the flowing gift of life, may we give thanks. In times of tender hearts, fragile, may we find comfort and strength, and may our hearts be healed. May we be filled with peace. Amen, and blessed be.
At the First Union Church of Indiana, we share the plate by giving a portion of every week's donations to an organization outside of the church. This part of our congregation's mission to promote compassionate and responsible thought and action in the world by giving back to the community around us every week. So when you give this morning, know that you are making an impact not only for this congregation, but also in the wider community through our shared giving. Our congregational giving this month benefits the Care Center of Indiana County, which originally began providing
The whole
services
point of marching
in
everybody down
1970s
was
and
precisely to provoke the
under the name
confrontation, and they had
Parents
organized
Promise.
that
From
insurrectionary
the start,
band of the Oath
they have
Keepers,
been a
the
child
Three
abuse
Percenters, the
prevention
Proud Boys,
advocate,
the militia
parent
groups, the
support,
QAnon networks.
and
They came ready to
education
fight,
at the
and they
forefront of their
stormed
work.
the Capitol. They
Today,
smashed our
the
windows.
CARE
They
name
broke down our
stands
doors,
for
and of
Child
course, they attacked
Advocacy
our police
and
officers, hitting them
Relationship
over the head
Enhancing,
with steel
and
pipes and Trump flags and Confederate.
symbolizes care for the child, the parents, and the needs of the family. The child is always the center of all of their services, as the Care Center's staff members work to enhance relationships between parents and children. As the congregation who has said our greatest justice work is the nurturing of children into compassionate and responsible adults, we are glad to give both within and beyond our walls, supporting families as we build a better world. Please give generously as you are able to the work of this church as we share in singing our offertory hymn.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and by this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and by this we live.
So not too long ago, I found myself in play with a small child who wanted to make things out of clay. Now, let's be clear. I don't consider myself an artist. I can make, squares, cubes, balls, perhaps a snake or two, given a little time. The things I make are rarely of a quality I would want to show to other adults, sometimes disproportionate, lopsided. I don't have a lot of confidence in my art. And yet, that child's face, the delight upon it, wanting to play, it pulled me out of my space of needing art to be beautiful, perfection, really anything to adult standards. It pulled me into a place of imagination, responding to the desire for fun. So together, we started easy. We made a stick a snail, a mushroom. And I began to build a simple thing, a wizard's hat made of a triangular, slightly misshapen cone that the child had created. We added little dots as stars, crescent moons, and then a little round ball of a head, a mustache, and a wavy beard, long and white. And suddenly, well, a body didn't seem too much to ask. Wizards, though, the child asserted with confidence, wizards have shoes, and they have to turn up at the tips. And then the child created a wand and a staff, which we put into two tiny clay hands, newly created. We baked it all. The wand fell down, but everything else seemed to stand up. Was it art? Who knows? Really, I didn't care. I didn't make it to go into a museum or to be perfect, but to give a moment of joy to a small person who needed me to pretend that I thought I was good enough, to have confidence and be an expert in my craft enough for that child to feel safe in doing and creating for the first time in a new way. So it is, we are so often reminded that in the moments in which we create something with and for one another, in which we find joy, letting go of our tight hold on our expectations of self, when we let love lead the way. Those are the moments when we most deeply fall into relationship, into weaving and feeling the bonds between one another. And we find, by a roundabout way, that we also come to the center of ourselves, our creativity and hope, our ability to be in the world. There are near infinite opportunities in this life to be self-critical, to be aware of ourselves in ways that actually diminish our lives, making us self-conscious, overly self-aware and self-involved, climbing mountains only so we can take pictures at the top, not for the journey along the way. It's easy to divert ourselves from the limitless possibility of all that we could be. It is when we are drawn out of ourselves by the call of compassion to make a wider circle through the necessity of love and the need to be something for another. Then we may do more than we thought possible and be enough to heal some of the brokenness of the world, offer tenderness toward hardship, be a conduit through which flows the perfection of creation, not because we are perfect, but because we can be perfectly what is needed in a moment. Today in our story, Sana found relationship, new contentment, because she chose generosity, becoming a cultural bridge for her family, offering understanding, even when faced with frustration. In that space between her mother's understanding of fairness and her sister's new learning about American cultural traditions and about sharing, that doesn't mean taking, she finds the bud of a new and more mature relationship growing. Here we are, this Black History Month, looking to widen the circle, looking for deeper relationships. This is a month in which we remember each year how much we have failed to recall those oppressed and marginalized throughout the history of this country, people like Florence Price. We spend 1 month remembering that 90% of the year is inequitable, that we have failed to provide the means for success accessible to every person in this country. And when those most marginalized, those given the least with high expectations, have succeeded in spite of this inequity, we have actively sought to erase their contributions from history in spite of it all. This is not a loving reality, and I cannot make it feel gentle to you, for it is unkind. To lure you with palatable untruths about the equality of this nation would be a disservice to every person whose identity has left them far on the edges of that circle, away from the coveted pinnacle of our mythic American prosperity. This month, our theme is widening the circle. And we recall that we are a denomination which centers ourselves not in the preferences of each individual, but in a common concern to build a world where love itself is the center, where it stretches into the relationships and bonds between people. This month, I invite you, I call you, and our faith demands of you that you find where love is most prevalent in your life and in your relationships, and that you nurture and grow those precious threads between you and others. I ask that you seek out and find the places where love is broken, insufficient, or unattended to, where you have not yet found a way to connect across gaps, perhaps cultural or identity-based. I ask that you find your love for those struggling with mental health issues, those who have been mocked or called not enough because of their race, their class, their gender, their abilities, their core of self. And then I ask that you open your heart, offer a bit of care and a gentle word, an unselfish action, a generosity leading toward love, a place of rest and peace. And if that person struggling is you, I ask that you offer no less care and compassion to yourself as well, to your precious, tender heart, and that you look toward friends and toward faith to be enough, to be with you through whatever has happened, whatever shall come, that makes you the person in need of love. For Black History Month, widening our circle, none of this is about the knowing, not knowing facts of history, but understanding difference, understanding what is precious and worthy, bridging gaps in understanding, and making our own hearts and empathy more attuned toward those who we may have subconsciously been encouraged all our lives to think of as less than ourselves, less worthy of love and care, of gentleness, of play, of joy and exuberance. And we all deserve this, not only in the hard times, but in playful times, in moments of creation, in laughter-filled conversation, and casual moments, and the spaces between. So let us offer to one another today a place for the holy, a place wide enough for the spirit of abundant love. May it be so. Amen.
Self-absorption in all its forms kills empathy, let alone compassion. When we focus on ourselves, our world contracts as our problems and preoccupations loom large. But when we focus on others, our world expands. Our own problems drift to the periphery of the mind, and so seem smaller. And we increase our capacity for connection or compassionate action. And now, please sing along with our closing hymn, number 131, Love Will Guide Us. Words will be posted in the chat during the music.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us, we'll lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us, we'll lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
I invite you to join me now in saying together our words to extinguish the chalice flame. We extinguish our chalice flame but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
So this week, as you go out, may the spirit of love attend you. May love be your guide. May you offer generosity. May you know that you need not sing like an angel, create like an artist, write like a poet, or be anything more than what you are, to be enough for the spirit of love to move through you and within you each and every day. Blessed be. And if you would like to open the mics and begin our time of conversation, our coffee hour, should you choose to make coffee in your own homes. Thank you for being with us today.